Hello, everyone. Welcome again. This is yet another session for the XR Summit. My name is Demant, Cureton, Senior Journalist for XR Today. And we have on some special guests. We have Sonya Seddarassan, founder of UPWorlds. We also have Ferhan and Rahel Demant, co-founders at XR Bootcamp. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today and for sharing your insights with.
Thank you.
Hello, Thank you very much for the invitation. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Great. So we have a bit to talk about today. We're going to talk a bit about XR Bootcamp. So I wanted to know who would like to define what an XR Bootcamp is and what kinds of things it teaches to the people joining it.
Sure. So we are an online academy working globally, and we are teaching virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality development skills to anyone who would like to enter the XR industry or is already working in the XR industry. So even if you're already a senior developer, we are offering courses that you can still upskill more. Because what we believe is that the XR industry is just in its beginning, and there is so much to learn, and there is so much changing as well all the time, and it's very, very hard without any formal upskilling to keep up to date on everything what's happening. So basically, that's our job. We are basically looking at everything that's happening in the XR technology scene. We are looking at what is actually the skills that companies, that big industry companies are using today, and what are the skills that you need to learn to basically get hired into XR development jobs. So when we're looking at our beginner level courses, the XR Bootcamp, which is a 4-month course, XR Foundations, and XR Prototyping course, we are only teaching in a very efficient way, teaching the skills that you need to get hired. So that in the end of the 4-month bootcamp, you have a portfolio of 4 XR prototypes that you're self-developing during the course. It's your own ideas. It's your own programming skills. We are only helping you to achieve it. And you're also having 1 MVP, 1 minimum viable product, which is a group project. So you're working on that in a group with other students together. You have a project manager, you have a technical mentor, so that you work like in a real XR studio. So we are replicating the environment of a real XR studio, so that after the bootcamp, you already know how it looks like to work in an XR studio. And that also helps you to get hired very quickly. So yeah, at XR Bootcamp, we are basically having these beginner level, advanced to advanced level, very high, very specific and very high advanced level XR development skills. And that's about us.
Sonya, you've done a lot of work with XR, upskilling people, as well as you've even done a collaboration with XR Bootcamp. And also, I wanted to know, what do you think about the whole upskilling challenge these days in the industry?
Yeah, of course. We have ever, with Ferhan, actually, we have ever had a shared conference. It's called a Metaverse Summit session, I think, for the creators economy. And I think, based on our conversation, we kind of understand that whatever XR Bootcamp is doing is like the entry point for anybody who are trying to get into the space, because they offer bootcamp, they upskilling for people. And I guess for UPWorlds is more about the highlighting. So it's the platform for the next step. Once they have learned, they know what they want, they know how they're going to showcase themselves, and then that's where UPWorlds come into the pictures for them to use the platforms and showcase themselves. But I think today one of the biggest challenge, of course, and this is also the challenge that we face in UPWorlds whenever we're introducing UPWorlds and what we do or what the platform can actually do, is the education part of it. A lot of the people probably has some background here, there. For example, I've talked to so many people who does, who's an architect or a 3D modeler. In reality, they do a lot of this, but then when they have to translate this into the metaverse, they're very confused where to start. And I think whatever XR Bootcamp is doing, it would be a good entry point for them to get into the space, build like a portfolio, and eventually can also use that portfolio like in Upworlds. So that has been like one of the biggest challenge, education.
Yeah, definitely. And we've noticed that there's a lot of challenges related to getting people prepared to build this industry that is just getting off the ground. And we've spoken to a lot of industry experts to ask them, like, what are some of the biggest challenges and risks? Like, what happens if this does not get off the ground? How will this affect the XR industry in the near future? Does anyone want to take that question?
I guess maybe the biggest challenge the biggest barrier, I wouldn't say challenge, the biggest barrier for this not to happen would be the talent, of course. If we do not find like enough talent to help us, because whether we like it or not, we are going to 3.0. It's a matter of like how long we will eventually like get there. And the talent play a very important role in this area. The slower the talent acquisition, education, and learnings within the industry, the longer we're going to take there. So the question is not. I think the rephrase of the question is not about like what happened if it doesn't happen. It will happen. It's just a matter of like how long and how like all the company that are here today and has started like revolutionizing this in the beginning of the process, like are ready to educate the talent to get there much faster. So this is what I feel.
Yeah, that's a good point. It helps to create that continuity across the industry of the skill sets that they need, the technologies, and because these are emerging technologies, it's going at such a rapid pace that it can be difficult to keep up with without the proper education. So my hats are off to you guys. Sonya, I wanted to ask you one thing about, or if anyone else wants to take the question as well, what kind of support do you give to people after they leave the boot camp? And what have they said about the experiences that they've had with your organizations?
Well, that's a really good question actually, because we have had like, I think echoing Ferhan a little bit there about not only about the quantity, but also the quality of people, of the talent that we work with. We have actually like tried to work with people who there's a lot of self-learner today, which is great in so many ways. But we have, because that we work together with these people, like a lot of them, we started to see the gap between like a complete self-learner and also like talent who are maybe have a little more experience from boot camps, from like workshops, but something that is more like a guided from like technicality points of view. And so they understand better about like the maybe the challenge, the limitation, and so they could produce like more like quality quality walls, quality assets. And so I would always say that, I mean, I'm an advocate for a self-learner, but even like for an advocate for a self-learner, like I realize myself that sometimes like it's self-learning is a good place to start, but then eventually if you want to become like really good at something, you want to take like a next step forward, like through boot camps or like through something like this, because I have a personal experience in this too. And so like together actually, like these people who are like more who have more experience, I would say, they normally like attract more client even within Apples. They get more I would say like commission built inquiry. Their walls they have like a better quality, and so like people are more interested in using their wall for NFTs, for museum, for events. So for us, like we're a marketplace, so we connect the creators and the client. But if we are to draw an analysis out of this, I would say that that's what differentiates this the outcomes that would eventually like support the creators economy and their growth as well within like our platforms.
Yeah, and those outcomes are extremely important. Once they're out into the market, the industry, then they get a chance to get their hands dirty, as you can say, and actually start building these worlds. And those skills are going to be vital in doing that. Rahel or Ferhan, what would you like to add to that?
I mean, on our side, when we are having some guidance sessions, we are always telling this to everyone. You have two chances. Either you can self-learn in the next 2-3 years and a little bit dabble around when you get stuck and try to find your way out, or you can just join us for 4 or 5 months, have an intensive period, fail a lot, fail fast, but in a supervised environment. Because without failing, without iterating, there is no way that you can reach to a level that you will call yourself employable. So that's very important for us, that we want people to fail fast, but upskill faster in a safe environment. That's what we are aiming. But we are not claiming that you cannot learn these skills by yourself, definitely, in a maybe a little bit more painful period and a little bit longer period, but you can still have there are a lot of good resources out there. You can learn by yourself. The critical thing here is, while you are failing, you are always applying for prototyping, right? As I mentioned. So you need to always create projects. If you don't have a decent portfolio, it is very hard from a recruiter perspective to understand what skills you are good at or what kind of knowledge that you can implement.
Absolutely. Yeah, very good points. And thanks for sharing that as well. I also believe that, for a lot of these people, these are the next generation of tech enthusiasts, tech workers. And so preparing them is going to be essential. And yes, we fail whenever we do something we want, that we're very passionate about. But each failure is a new chance for success. And I think that, your organizations are really working to kind of teach people that that is a very important part of getting to success. So yes, I wanted to ask you maybe a little bit about this. So we see the growth of the XR industry. We want to know, what do you believe is the value of this industry, either for enterprises, developers, and the average consumer, because this is growing at such a rapid pace? You can take it from any angle, I guess. Rahel, would you like to start with that?
Sure. I mean, there's so many answers you can give here, right? And for me, it's always the advantages we are going to have having great XR environments and great virtual reality experiences is that whenever we have another pandemic, or we are definitely going to spend, unfortunately, less and less time outside because of climate change as well. And if we have opportunities to spend an amazing time in XR spaces, that's going to be a great alternative to just sitting at home. So the more realistic we can create the XR spaces we are going to move in around, or we are going to meet other people, or we're going to play with other people or work with other people, the better it's going to be. So I'm very, very excited about these new environments we are going to use on a daily and a very regular basis.
Great. Anyone else?
Sonya, maybe since you are the head of all the creators creating lots of virtual worlds, are we going to that direction? Maybe you can answer that.
Well,
Can we replicate the physical environments in the best way possible? At least the trend is going in the positive way. How is your take on that?
well, I would say that eventually, I think it's about connecting more about the physical world and the virtual worlds. Initially, I think for us, what we saw is that a lot more people are building imaginative virtual worlds. And so coming along like this, and then when we have more architects coming into the industry, we see a lot of like digital twins that are happening. So they started bridging this gap. And through this gap, I think a lot more people started seeing the possibility of like why XR would be um, would would have a future somewhere there. Like, okay, so we can actually do this. And I think like moving forward is something like wearables is, and then how brands come into the pictures to um, to connect between, you know, spatial worlds like avatars, or like the virtual worlds itself would be like where this is going to grow much faster, in my opinion. Did I answer you correctly?
Yep, that works. Definitely works. Yeah, excellent points. Did anyone else have anything they'd like to add? Maybe updates or personal thoughts or opinions on XR or so on like that?
Actually, we have very interesting initiative we just started. Last, I think, 2 months, we are quite swamped on this. Maybe Rahel is leading on our side. Maybe Rahel, would you like to share a little bit?
Yeah, so we are also very happy that XR today I actually covered this news around 1 month ago. So we are right now collaborating with sponsoring companies, for example, Meta, to increase the diversity and inclusion in the XR industry. Because what we are seeing right now is like in any other tech area, right? Like that, for example, women are getting a little bit disadvantaged because, for example, when we're looking at virtual reality headsets, women are getting 30% more nauseous when using virtual reality experiences than, for example, men, right? So, and the reason for this is mostly because underrepresented communities are not getting involved in the creation process of new technologies. And that's what we want to change. So our big vision is that XR creators, XR developers, the whole tech scene is becoming much, much more diverse and including today underrepresented communities. So with the sponsorship of these big companies, we are now having the opportunity for people to receive 100% scholarships for the XR Bootcamp. So in total, it's depending on your skill sets, it's a 4 to 5 months program, including career services afterwards. So we started basically in 2020, and so far in our bootcamps afterwards, everyone has found a job in the XR industry, and we're very, very happy about that. So we think that this bootcamp is one of the very few education pathways that exist today that really upskill you in a skill to job way. So we are very confident that when you're taking our bootcamp that you will find a job in the XR space. And with the 100% scholarship opportunity, it's just an amazing way to make the industry more inclusive. And I mean, we just had the first cohort applications, which the deadline was on 25th of July. And right now we are currently processing the over 400 applications we received, and we are selecting the best suiting candidates. And we are very, very excited about starting this definitely very diverse cohort on August 15. And we hope that we can basically continue with this initiative in the next following years.
So yeah, I mean, XRSI, XR Safety Initiative, and Cyber XR Coalition are spearheading. So we are mostly on the education side, but there is a committee there that they have, as Rahel mentioned, we have a huge number of applications. So that's good news. But the committee will have some difficult time selecting the candidates because we have, of course, a limited number of seats. So our goal is to reach more companies and hiring partners that can support this initiative to secure this inclusive metaverse. Our goal is to graduate 100 metaverse engineers per year. It's quite ambitious, we know that, but we trust the XR industry and the, let's say, big platforms of XR that will actually take this initiative as a priority for their own also goals of industry growth. So we believe that if we can create this diverse community, these big companies will benefit most because we will basically funnel diverse candidates to them. I mean, if to be honest, as XR Bootcamp, when we compare our offerings plus the costs, we are already starting to democratize for the last couple of years. When you compare us with any university, college tuition fees, we are already making it more affordable, less time commitment, and then you can immediately look for a job afterwards. But we also have received a lot of applications in the last couple of years, and we thought these people are smart. The financial limitations shouldn't be a blocker for them to become an XR developer prototyper. So that's why this initiative, Beyond Inclusion initiative, is actually very important for us. We really want to bring all these fellow graduates of this program and see them in very nice positions and roles and big companies.
Fantastic stuff. And yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck on that initiative as well, because that is, of course, building the next legacy of XR developers, and they will be leading the future. I'm afraid that's all the time that we've got for today, but I do really appreciate all of your time, your insights, your wonderful things that you're doing within the industry itself. So once again, we've had on Sonya Seddarassan, founder of UPWorlds. We've also had Ferhan Özkan and Rahel Demant, co-founders of XR Bootcamp. My name is Demant Cureton again. I'm the senior journalist for XR Today. I wish you guys a warm welcome once again to the XR Summit. Hope you enjoy the rest of it and have yourselves a wonderful time. Take care.